This is a March update on my 112-gallon average reef. Unfortunately, I didn't get around to editing and posting this until the first week of April, but this was shot the last week of March, shortly after I came back from Montreal. I don't really stick to a video schedule other than I post one video a month on my main reef tank. It seems like something weird always happens when you're away. I've had fish that I had for years disappear, corals vanish without a trace, equipment failures, but in this case, I had a problem with one of my centerpiece corals. When I got back, I didn't notice since I was really tired and not feeling great, but the next day when I cleaned the glass, I realized something was up with the gorgonian. Somehow it's gotten covered by brown slime, almost like a diatom algae, despite the fact it's pounded with flow. There wasn't a single polyp out, but fortunately there was no tissue loss. I, however, was at a complete loss of what was wrong, since I've had this coral for many years and it's never behaved like this. It's probably 10 times bigger than when I first got it, if not more. I searched for answers, but there were really none to be found. I actually wiped off as much of the algae as I could with paper towels, and even scrubbing it off was quite difficult. The only other thing I did was increase the flow to maximum. Everything else looked pretty good though. The softies, the SPS, the fish, everything was fine. I did add new corals about 3 weeks prior, but they also spent a little bit of time in quarantine, and they came from my one local reefer friend who doesn't get new stuff very often either. These guys are new here, as well as this orange cyphastria. Running some tests on the water, alkalinity was slightly low, but still in the safe zone. I generally keep my alkalinity pretty low. I aim for 7.5 DKH, and that's primarily due to the fact that I carbon dose. Speaking of carbon dosing, since no one was feeding the tank for 4 days, phosphates and nitrates were pretty close to bottoming out. That was like the only thing that was somewhat off, but I don't think that would have such a big effect on only one coral in such a short time. To correct this, I simply changed some water from this tank with my lionfish tank, since I run that tank at high nitrates since all it has is the lionfish in it. Really, everything else was looking good, so I didn't know what to do other than wait. You will see in my next video next month on this tank, the gorgonian is back to normal, but it was a scary 2 weeks of waiting. I do have a bit of a bubble algae issue here. Hopefully the dendros will grow over them. The chalice that was in my last video being killed by the mushroom seems to be okay now. It was pretty tricky to get a shot. I did end up losing about 30% of the colony, but if the mushrooms creep any further, I think I'm just going to try and cut them back. It's just in too difficult of a spot to frag. My mini carpet is back to normal after its crazy spawning event. If you didn't see that video, make sure you check it out because that was pretty cool. Other than that, the tank is looking good. All the other corals are doing well. You may notice that I don't have any new fish in the tank. I previously bought 4 fish, and unfortunately only one of them has made it into the tank. My 2 beautiful wrasses succumbed to internal parasites. That didn't happen until I had them for about 30 days, so it's a good thing they were in quarantine. The royal grandma has since made it into the tank, and he's doing fine, and the mandarin is in my frag tank fattening up. Eventually he will be added to the tank as well. I'm debating doing something about these soft corals. Not so much the Xena, as that's in the back, not getting a lot of light, growing slow, but the Kenya tree is just getting more and more out of control. I'm really going to have to remove some of it, particularly because I would like to see better hard coral growth, as I have a few new SPS that are being added to the tank, and pieces like this green acro I would like to see grow out into a large colony. I'm not really sure what I can do other than continue to frag. The funny thing is, being away 2 times this month, or last month I should say, I had probably 20 Kenyan tree frags floating around. Right now I've even got some growing on the power heads. I did manage to pick up a fish I've wanted for many years. It's quite an unusual fish, not something most people dream about, but I've always wanted one of these, and I finally got one. It's in quarantine for now, but I'll be showing him soon. Thanks for watching, and happy reefing.